Okay, this shiur is Le'ilu Nishmas Rachalei Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi. Okay, it's good to be with you again after Pesach. Okay, we're going to begin with the end of perek Rebbetzin Daniel. We may have done this part, but I want to start there because it opens up the door to what's happening next. So we spoke last time about Nevuchadnetzar's dream and its interpretation. So we saw the idol that in fact was the symbol of all future kingdoms. Okay, Daniel interpreted this from when nobody else could. He sees its ultimate destruction. If you were him, what would you do in response to this if you believe the dream? Let's look again at what Nevuchadnetzar actually did. Bedayin Malka Nevuchadnetzar nafal al anpohilu. So at that point, Nevuchadnetzar the king fell on his face. Ule Daniel Sagid, and he bowed to Daniel. Uminchavni chochin amar lenasachale, and he attempted to offer him sacrificial gifts and libations. So what that says is that he saw Daniel in his ability to know what goes on beyond the limitations of this world. He saw him as being a person who was a demigod, who had something of God himself within him. So we have to understand what that means and what the difference between a demigod and a godlike person would be. So I don't know who you admire the most in the rabbinic world, in the present world, in the past world. But let's say one day you're walking down the street and you happened upon Rabbi Akiva, recently risen from the dead. Could you picture yourself bowing before him? I certainly could. I can't imagine Rabbi Akiva's greatness. If I saw the Rambam, if I saw the Vilna Gaon, if I saw the Maharal. Okay, so what is it that we admire in spiritual giants? So what we admire, of course, is that they're people who integrate what Hashem is into their lives and make Him themselves. So, to understand this concept with a bit more depth, a famous statement, it's in the Gemara, but I'm sure you've heard it in other contexts. If a scholar enters a room, you should stand. Why? If you stand for a Sefer Torah, why not stand for a living Sefer Torah? So the idea is that a person is what they integrate, what they make themselves. Now it says about Torah that Hashem and the Torah are one with the Jewish people. Meaning the Torah is Hashem's mind, so when a person learns, something of the divine mind is within them. Does that make them Hashem? So the question, if you're looking at it from a simple angle, no. Yeah, of course, that person is Hashem. The only difference is that the person is mortal, the person doesn't know everything, the person has failings, and the person is limited. Other than that, they're... Okay, yeah. So of course, on an observable level, we see no person is Hashem. So what does it mean then when we talk about Elokut within them? What does that mean? So there are two ways of looking at it. The way we would look at it as Jews is that everything has Elokut within it. Everything is connected to Hashem's will. The soul itself relates to Hashem the way a sun ray relates to the sun. It's nothing other than the sun, but it's not the sun. So to us the lines are drawn very clearly. Being an expression of Hashem and His will isn't the same thing as being Hashem at all. Lahavdil, many lahavdils. The idolaters don't see it that way. What they see is what Hashem does and what He is are literally the same thing. So, what they would say, for instance, is I'm God, the desk is God, the wall is God. That's what they would say today in India. So instead of saying all things that are separate come from a single source, they'll say the source itself isn't single, but ultimately multiplicated. In earlier times, people didn't see things that way either. How did someone like Nevuchadnetzar see things? What he saw was many forces in the world So he did see divinity in everything, and he saw them as independent of a single source, like contemporary Ovdei Avodah Zarah would see. However, to him, it was conceivable that there's a hierarchy, that there are forces that are stronger than other forces, that cause other forces. So he's closer to the truth in a certain sense. So he understood that a spiritual person and an ant aren't on the same page, which puts him ahead of what people think today in India. But he still didn't get that ultimate unity means unity with a force far, far beyond anything that's a creation. So to him, the line separating the creator from the creation was unclear. So because of this, when he saw Daniel seeing things that are out